Hi friends, welcome back to Electraspirant and assistance to electrical students for objective type exam preparation. It is an initiative of Department of Electrical and Electronics Engineering, Christ College of Engineering, Irnyalakuda. In this video, we are going to discuss questions 26 to 50, Lineman Public Works Electrical Wing KPSC 55 bar 2016. So let's start with question number 26. 1 farad is equal to, we know that farad is the unit of capacitance and capacitance value is equal to charge by voltage, Q divided by V. And the unit for charge is coulomb and the unit for voltage is volt. So the answer for question number 26 becomes 1 coulomb per volt. Option C. Let's move on to the next question, question number 27. The depolarizer used in dry cell is. The answer for question number 27 is option A, that is manganese dioxide. Let's go through the figure of a dry cell and identify which are the other parts of a dry cell. The anode is zinc, cathode is carbon, electrolyte is ammonium chloride, that is NH4Cl, and depolarizer is manganese dioxide. So the answer for question number 27 becomes option A, that is manganese dioxide. Let's move on to the next question, question number 28. This question number 28 remains cancelled for PSC. Let's move on to the next question, question number 29. Density of acid in lead acid battery gives an indication of. So the answer for question number 29 becomes option C, that is the charge of the battery. The density shows, by measuring the density of an acid concentration of sulfuric acid, the charge status can be identified for the lead acid battery. So the answer for question number 29 is option C. Let's move on to the next question, question number 30. The minimum insulation resistance of a water heater is. So the minimum insulation resistance, that is IR value, should be 1 mega ohm per 1000 volt for equipments. So the minimum resistance, minimum insulation resistance to be maintained is option B, that is 1 mega ohm per 1000 volt. So the answer for question number 30 becomes option B, 1 mega ohm. Let's move on to the next question, question number 31. When the generator is loaded, the options are brushes are kept in MNA for sparkless commutation, GNA for sparkless commutation, MNP and GNP are same and the brushes are kept at right angles to it, and the last one is it is kept in any position to get sparkless commutation. So we know that when the generator is loaded, the brushes should be kept in the MNA for the sparkless commutation, and when it is kept in MNA, there will be no induced EMF, no current, no heating loss in the brushes, no sparking at the commutator segments. So the answer for question number 31 becomes option A, that is brushes are kept in MNA for sparkless commutation. Let's move on to the next question, question number 32. Question number 32 also remains cancelled for PSC. So let's move on to the next question, question number 33. The percentage of carbon in high-speed steel is. So the percentage of carbon in high-speed steel can be found from the answer written in green letters. High-speed steel is actually a high-carbon tool steel and which is containing a large percentage of tungsten. So a typical high-speed steel high-speed steel is having a composition of 18% of tungsten, 4% of chromium, 1% of vanadium and 0.7% of carbon, and the rest whole is iron. So almost from the percentage of 0.7% carbon, we can identify that the answer for question number 33 is option C, that is 0.75 to 1%. Let's move on to the next question, question number 34. The control force employed in indicating instrument which can be kept at any position is. So we know that the important controls which are being used in the instrumentation systems are gravity control and the spring control. And it is obvious that the instruments which are employing the gravity control, they should be always kept in a vertical position in order to get the proper control. So the answer for question number 34 becomes option D, spring control. For those instruments, we can keep in any position so that the control force is employed. So let's move on to the next question, question number 35. Question number 35 also remains cancelled for PSC. Let's move on to the next question. Question number 36. If the meter constant mentioned in the meter is 1500 revolutions per kilowatt hour, in one revolution the energy consumption is. So what will be the energy consumption for one revolution? So how can we find it? The revolution can be found either using just by taking the reciprocal of the meter constant, or we can also use it by logical thinking. For 1500 revolution, 1 kilowatt hour is being utilized or consumed. We can just go through the options and we can identify that all the answers are given in watt minutes. So we have to convert it into watt minutes. So for 1500 revolution, 1000 into 60 watt minutes is being taken. And for one revolution, then what will be the watt minutes taken? 1000 into 60 divided by 1500. Answer is 40 watt minutes. So the answer for question number 36 becomes 40. Sorry, option A, that is 40 watt minutes. Let's move on to the next question. Question number 37. The unknown DC voltage is to be measured. Which measuring range will you select first? So whenever we are measuring a DC voltage which is unknown to us, always we have to select the higher range. That means the option for answer for question number 37 becomes option A, that is 500 volt. Let's move on to the next question. Question number 38. In three-phase circuits, the formula for calculating the power factor by 2 wattmeter method is. We know that we have studied from the first year classes how to calculate the power using 2 wattmeter method. And the answer for question number 38 becomes option B, that is tan phi is equal to √3 into W1 minus W2 divided by W1 plus W2, where W1 and W2 are the wattmeter readings. Let's move on to the next question. Question number 39. The resistance of starting winding is, how is it? Is it same? Is it less? Is it higher than? Or it is not having any relation with the running winding? So starting winding is actually having a less number of turns. It is always having less number of turns, less inductance and more resistance. Okay, then only the current will be in phase with the applied voltage. Okay, it will be in phase with the applied voltage. If this is the voltage, the current should be almost in phase with the starting winding current should be almost in phase with the applied voltage. For that, the resistance will be very high and the inductance value will be very low. Whereas the running resistance, for the running winding, the resistance should be low and the inductance value should be more, so that it will be lagging behind, and there will be almost a 90-degree phase shift between both of them, almost a 90-degree, so that the proper starting torque is being obtained. So the answer for question number 39 is option C. The resistance should be higher in the starting winding than the running winding. Let's move on to the next question. Question number 40. The purpose of capacitor in a fan is to be. So we know that for a fan, we are using a single phase induction motor, and the capacitor is used for providing the starting torque by making a phase shift between the starting and the running winding. So the answer for question number 40 becomes option D, that is to give a phase shift. Let's move on to the next question. Question number 41 is also remaining cancelled for PSC. Let's move on to the next question. Question number 42. At the time of starting, the sodium vapor lamp gives the color of light is. So when the lamp is being first started, it first emits a red or pink light, and within only a few minutes, the sodium metal vaporizes and the emission becomes a common bright yellow color. So the answer for question number 42 is reddish color, that is option B. That is, it is the color when the sodium vapor lamp is being started. So let's move on to the next question. Question number 43. The center tapping of high voltage transformer must be earthed to. What is the purpose of earthing the center tapping of a high voltage transformer? The answer for of question number 43 is option C, that is to provide a safety for the operator. So it is used for making providing a safety for the operator. Let's move on to the next question. Question number 44. The possible minimum reading which can be taken by a 0.25 millimeter of an outside micrometer is. So the least count is being asked, that is 0.01 millimeter. Option for question number 44 is option A, that is 0.01 millimeter. So those who have already forgot the calculation for finding the least count, you can just go through this figure. Pitch divided by the total number of circular divisions. Circular scale division is the least count. So least count is equal to 1 millimeter divided by 100 divisions on the circular scale, and thus it becomes 0.01 millimeter. Okay, so let's move on to the next question. Question number 45. The bending angle of hard drawn bare copper conductor for Britannia joint should be. So we know that the Britannia joint, I have given a figure here to identify the Britannia joint, and from the figure itself we can identify that the angle should be 90 degree. So the answer for question number 45 is option B, that is 90 degree. Let's move on to the next question, question number 46. In soldering aluminium cables with a ferrule joint, it is advisable to use. So this ferrule is actually, it is used for ensuring a reliable electrical connection when terminating the stranded flexible wires in a terminal block or circuit breaker or any other control devices. So this is the figure of a ferrule which is given here. And the answer for this question number 46 is option B. A copper ferrule is normally used for joining or for soldering the aluminium cables. So the answer for option C is a ferrule joint, that is option B. A ferrule, copper ferrule joint is being used for joining or for soldering the aluminium cables. Okay. So let's move on to the next question, question number 47. The distance between clips in a horizontal run shall be. The distance between the clips in horizontal run shall be 10 centimeter. The answer for option for question number 47 is option A, that is 10 centimeter. So let's move on to the next question, question number 48. For pipe earthing, the minimum internal diameter of a galvanized iron or steel pipe required is. So normally for a pipe earthing, the minimum internal diameter required is 38 millimeter, and the answer for question number 48 becomes option D, that is 38 millimeter. So let's go to the next question, 49. According to IE rules, the leakage current in an installation should not exceed 1 by dash. That means how much part of the maximum current should be the leakage current according to the IE rules. So the answer for question number 49 is option D, that is 5000. That means 1 by 5000th part of the maximum current should be only the leakage current. It should not exceed this value. So that is given. The answer for question number 49 is option D. Let's move on to the last question of today's video, and the conductors, 50th question. The conductors of the armature winding are soldered at the commutator. Okay, how it is being soldered at the commutator? So here you can see the figure of the armature conductors which are being connected towards the commutator, and it is actually done with the help of a riser. So the risers are used for connecting a armature conductor with the commutator. So the answer for question number 50 becomes option C, that is riser. Risers are used for soldering the armature winding towards the commutator. So that's all for today. Thank you everyone for listening. Stay tuned. Bye.